Alright, a kite needs to be flown at a height of 45 feet in the air. The kite string will be attached to a pole at a point 5 feet above the ground. The angle of elevation from the point where the string is attached to the kite is 45 degrees. What is the length of the rope that will hold the kite at the correct height? The length of the rope is approximately blank feet. Alright, so it says to enter your answer as a number that correctly fills in the blank in the previous sentence. If necessary, round your answer to the nearest whole number. Okay. So, a kite needs to be flown at a height of 45 feet in the air. So here's our kite. It is 45 feet in the air. And there will be this string that's going to be attached to a pole. And the pole at a point 5 feet above the ground. So we know that that is 5 feet. So right here, this whole length is 45 feet. So that means that this length is 40. Because the horizontal line is horizontally from the pole that is 5 feet up. So that is 40, and this is the other 5 feet of our 45-foot requirement in the air. Alright, so now they want to know what is the length of the rope that will hold the kite at the correct height. So now again, let's look at this. We do have a right triangle. A horizontal meets perpendicular at a 90-degree angle. And it says the angle of elevation from the point where the string is attached to the kite is 45 degrees. So this angle is 45 degrees. So again, angle of elevation is from the horizontal line to the line of sight that is occurring. So now let's label our triangle based off of this 45-degree angle. So the side length opposite it is the opposite side length. So this 40 foot right there is opposite. The side length across from the 90 degrees is always the hypotenuse. And this side right here is the adjacent. Alright, so now we have the options between sine, cosine, and tangent. So I'm going to use the mnemonic device of SOHCAHTOA. So, sine, opposite is the O, and H is the hypotenuse. Ka, C is for cosine of the angle is equal to, again it was A, so it's the adjacent divided by the hypotenuse. And TOA, T is for tangent of the angle. OA, O is the opposite over the adjacent side length. So now we have to choose which of these we're going to use. So first I'm going to identify what is the side length that we want to find. Well, we want to find the hypotenuse. So the two trig functions that we have to find the hypotenuse right now are sine and cosine because they have the hypotenuse in their ratio. So tangent's off the table. So now let's decide between sine and cosine. Well, we have the opposite side length, so the one that has a ratio between opposite side length and a hypotenuse is sine. So we are going to use the sine of our angle. And that's how we are going to determine it. Whoops. So let's set it up. We have sine of our angle, which is 45 degrees, and that equals the opposite side length, which is 40, and that's being divided by our hypotenuse, which is x. Now I'm going to use a rule of reciprocals because these are proportions, and flip them. This is a rule that we learned earlier in the class. And so sine of 45 degrees is a number, and any number can be written as a fraction over 1. So now when I use this reciprocal rule, it just flips it on its head. So it's going to be 1 over sine of 45 degrees. And that's going to equal, we flip both of them, and that's what we wanted. Because this is x over 40 now, and x is being divided by 40, and I know how to handle that. I know that I can multiply by 40 to both sides, and again, remember when you have fractions, the numerator times the numerator, and the denominator multiplies to the denominator. So 40 is a number, it can be written as a fraction over 1. So top times top, 40 times 1 is 40. Bottom times bottom, 1 times sine of 45 is sine of 45. So then when we do this, we have this 40 divided by 40 reduces down to 1. So we have 1x, and it is more typically just written as x. So let's jump over to a calculator. We have 40 divided by sine of 45 degrees. So it is solving for sine of 45 degrees, and that is what we want. Now again, remember it says round your answer to the nearest whole number. So this is a decimal, it's 56.5. So that would round up to 57 because 56.56 is closer to 57 than it is to 56. So the length of the rope would approximately need to be 57. So that just means this length would have to be 57 about feet long. And that's how I'd answer this.